Gay dates, gay sex, gay shopping and traveling, gay characters in series, even in children's movies and books. Why do some people have to make who they sleep with their entire identity?
You hear it more and more these days. I have nothing against it, but...
Don't rub it in my face!
But shouldn't we be consistent then? I mean, shouldn't sexuality in general be kept out of the public sphere? No more talk about mating rituals. On a date recently, the guy said...
Whoa, nobody asked about your sexuality, Janet.
No more hetero couples in advertising.
Can't they do that at home?
And no more early sexualization of children by heterosexuals.
So, princess, you'll get married one day, right?
Ew, those are babies! Leave the kids alone with your sexuality!
Gay movies are ideological. Hetero movies are romantic. Queer children's movies are brainwashing propaganda, while hetero kids' movies are Disney. So, if anyone has turned choosing a sexual partner into their identity, it's actually straight people. They've built an entire culture and multiple religions around it. It only ever becomes a problem when it's about other sexualities because they stand out in the hetero world, and that alone challenges some people's self-image.
We're not supposed to be like this!
Or are they living a freedom that was denied to us?
What if we also break free?
But that would mean confronting the broader societal issue of imposed gender roles, questioning our parents, grandparents, and, well, everything we've been taught since childhood. And since that's too exhausting and terrifying for many, you can't do that!
I don't want to see that!
Okay. They'd rather oppose diversity and pass down the same insecurities to their children over and over again.
Ah! That's not allowed!
I don't want to see that!
But if these kids had been given queer alternatives, they might have been spared a lot. The insecurity, the fear and self-hatred in puberty, for example, when they realize that what everyone wants to keep away from them is actually who they really are. Something seemingly abnormal, something that doesn't belong in this world and should be hidden behind closed doors. And all because of something they had no control over. Can you just become gay?
No, what?
Then why do you think I can become straight? And let's be honest, guys. If something is considered perverse, dangerous, and disgusting when it's gay, but is totally harmless and normal in a hetero context, well, that's just hypocritical and deceitful. The gay community exists because we live in a heteronormative society that continuously enforces specific experiences on queer people. The feeling of exclusion, prejudice, and suffered violence. They find safety among people with shared values who, ideally, don't prejudge them, but let them be who they are. And most people seek community with like-minded individuals. But for some, creating those spaces is easier than it is for others, when their mere existence is seen as a provocation. Queer communities have always existed, first in secret, but through decriminalization in many countries in recent decades, visibility has grown. And with it, acceptance, solidarity, and shame has given way to pride in being courageous. And that's why there's no straight pride, because in a heteronormative world, no one has ever had to feel ashamed, hide, or fear for their life just because they're heterosexual.
Tuh, gays don't have to anymore either. This representation rainbow crap is just playing the victim. No one has a problem with it anymore in the Western world.
I wish. But with more visibility, more heteros also get triggered. Exhibit A.
Hey, lesbians are fine. Gays, yeah, if they have to be, but trans and gender nonsense, it's too much.
And suddenly they're confronted with the complexity of the world. And I know complexity can be scary. I mean that unironically. If I could choose, I'd also prefer things to be simpler. Because too many options leads to insecurity. Especially in a world where social media constantly bombards us, showing us our own powerlessness over and over again. And so people will latch onto the smallest complexity and make it into the scapegoat, as some kind of way to regain a sense of control. New FBI data confirms anti-LGBTQ plus hate crimes are continuing to spike. And this fear of losing control is shamelessly exploited by some politicians and parties. The US stopped allowing passport gender marker changes. Donald Trump's State Department has enacted a one-flag policy, banning US embassies and overseas missions from flying Pride or Black Lives Matter flags. Because they know that as long as they keep feeding a scapegoat, redirecting the public's anger, people will pay less attention to the real issues. And that wins votes from a dissatisfied population that celebrates a victory over queer people as a win against wokeness, instead of recognizing the dehumanization that's actually happening. In 20 years, society will look back on the injustice and suffering inflicted on vulnerable groups today, like trans people, and then come the apologies, regret, and memorials, just like after the AIDS crisis. Even though back then, just like today, a glance at the statistics would be enough to see that this so-called threat simply doesn't exist. The real child groomers aren't drag queens, but the vast majority of them are heterosexual cis men from children's environments. Women are most often raped and murdered by their cis hetero ex-partners, not by some trans women in locker rooms. If you think
Lesbians, fine. Gays if you have to be, but trans and gender nonsense? Too much!
it doesn't matter. That's literally a you problem. We exist anyway. We have always existed, and we always will. Attacking us, taking away our rights, trying to ban our freedoms, or worse? None of that changes the fact that the world is massive and complex, and we exist, even if you deny it. If you see one gay character in 10 people, if you see one lesbian couple in 9 commercials, if you see rainbow flags more often in 1 of 12 fucking months, if we're so absent that a single kiss triggers you to the point where you're thinking,
"Ugh, I don't want to see that,"
then this has nothing to do with wokeness. It just shows you what the real world looks like. We are here and we exist. If that bothers you, suck it up. And if basic decency in the form of let people love who they want makes you this emotional, ask yourself, who's the real overly sensitive snowflake? The woke bubble or you? Because I know a group of people that's been force-fed straight sexuality since childhood and has sucked it up. Us. This video is for my queer kids, who are just tired of explaining the same things over and over again, and have heard the same great arguments 20 times. Now you can just send out this video. For an extra colorful fuck that finger, check out my store. Because besides drawing gloves, pins, stickers, and sweaters, this year there's an exclusive limited shirt design for every main video. So it's only available for a limited time. This month is the Queer Art Heart in 2 versions. One with a rainbow flag and one for everyone that doesn't feel safe coming out in black and white. This way you can support my content here and you get something in return. If you're looking for other ways to support, check out my Patreon or leave a super thanks. And until next time, stay safe and chew-wah!